Factsverse presents. When an astronaut started to drown after splashdown, NASA knew it needed to act fast. Virgil Grissom, aka Gus Grissom, he got his nickname when one of his friends misread his last name. He was just a child at the time, and the nickname, well, it stuck. Something else that started when he was a child was his passion for flying. As a child, he loved to build model airplanes. That's what set him on course for his lifelong career in flying. When World War II started, Gus was still in high school. As soon as he graduated in 1944, he enlisted. He signed up for the aviation training program, but he never saw combat. Thanks to his time in the military, though, he was eligible for the GI Bill, which would help him pay for college. Gus attended Purdue University after getting out of the military, and after he graduated, he re-enlisted into the military. This time he joined the U.S. Air Force, which was really new at the time. During his time there, he completed close to 100 combat missions during the Korean War. He even flew into and disrupted enemy air raids. His in-flight abilities earned him a special invitation in 1959. He received a letter that ordered him to change into his street clothes and attend a meeting in Washington, D.C. And there, he learned more details about what they were offering. They had chosen 110 pilots to learn about and then join a new space program. The meeting was top secret, and Gus knew many of the pilots in attendance. They were all told that getting into the new program would not be easy. Gus made it through the first round of screenings and then had to travel to New Mexico and then Ohio, where he would undergo medical and psychological tests. It was during this portion where Gus almost didn't make it into the program. When the doctors found out that he suffered from allergies, he was initially counted out. When Gus told the doctors that he was allergic to pollen, which isn't present in space, they allowed him to continue on with the screening process. After that, Gus had to wait to find out if he'd made it. In April 1959, he got the good news that he was waiting for. He was one of only 7 chosen for Project Mercury. 2 weeks after finding out that he was accepted, he left the Air Force and reported for training. The goal of Project Mercury was to send a man into space, have him move around the planet in the Earth's orbit, and then bring him back home. This was happening during the space race. The United States and the Soviet Union were both trying to get a man into space first. To complete their task, the United States invested a great deal of money into the space program. The amount that they spent was the equivalent today of $2.2 billion. Gus wouldn't be the first person to go into space with Project Mercury. The first was actually Alan Shepard, who manned Freedom 7 in 1961. The vessel made it to space, but it couldn't get into orbit. Still, he was the first man to go into space, so he went down in history as the first American to do so. In January of 1961, Gus learned that he'd be going on the second mission. He took off in July of 1961. He was supposed to leave on the 16th, but that date changed because the clouds were so thick the vessel couldn't launch. They also discovered another problem. A technician discovered that one of the 70 bolts hadn't been screwed to place correctly. After NASA engineers spent about 30 minutes discussing what to do, they decided that 69 bolts in place were strong enough to hold the door. They had no idea at the time that leaving out that last bolt almost ended Gus's life. Gus finally got his chance to go into space, July 21, 1961. While on board the Liberty Bell 7, Gus admits to being a bit nervous at first. As the ship gained speed, it was very smooth, which made Gus feel more confident about the mission. When they took manual control of the Liberty Bell 7, he became a space pilot. He had tasks to handle, but the view from space and of the Earth's horizon was of course fascinating. This made it difficult for him to focus. From his ship, he could see Florida. He traced the Indian River, the Banana River, and he even saw an airport runway. When it was time to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, Gus's heart raced, beating 171 beats per minute. Normally it should be 60 to 90 beats per minute. The first parachute deployed at the right moment. However, the second one had a few tears. When Gus and the ship hit the water, the impact was much softer than he expected. He had to flip a switch right after hitting the water to initiate his rescue aids. While the vessel rolled through the waves, it stayed watertight. After taking off his helmet and writing down some panel data, he radioed the helicopters nearby to let them know that he was ready to be picked up. While waiting, he pulled the pin from the detonator that would open the hatch. When he sat back and waited, he heard a loud thud, that indicated the door had been detonated. The cover flew off and Gus and his capsule were exposed to the open water. In fact, the vessel started to fill with the water. Gus knew he had to get out of the vessel quickly. When he got into the water, there was a helicopter hovering overhead. The pilot told him to swim away from the aircraft so that he could pull him from the water. The vessel disappeared under the water, and Gus realized how lucky he was to have made it out of that vessel safely. He fought hard to stay above water himself, waiting to be rescued. When a second helicopter came, they sent down a lifeline, but the waves pushed him down twice. Finally, he managed to catch the line and was pulled to safety. Subscribe for more.